In this video I am going to explain the project 1. Project 1 is a group project, and in this project we are going to design a CO2 Dragster design. So the purpose or objective of this project is participants have the opportunity to design and produce a fast CO2 powered dragster according to the stated specification and using only certain stated materials. So we needed to design a fastest body of the dragster. So in the working condition, in the race, it must achieve the fastest speeds. That is the purpose of this project. So first we discuss the types of dragster cars. So there are typically 4 types. There is shell cars, the wheels hidden inside the body. There is shelled wheel inside the body, extension rail cars, wheel outside the body, and hybrid cars which have the mix of rail and shell. So these are the 4 types of the dragster body, and you can choose any of them. And then there is a dragster body. These are the standards given to design the dragster body. So body length is minimum is 250 millimeter and maximum is 300 millimeter. So we must design a body which must, and like the dimension must not, length must not increase the 300, and minimum it must be not less than 250 millimeter. So if you make the like the body 240 millimeter, then it's not according to the specification or the standards. Or if the length is body length is greater than 300, like 350 millimeters, then it's also not the length is not in the standard. So in this project, the first thing is that we needed to build a dragster in Fusion 360, and then we needed to make the actual body in the workshop according to these standards. And the design process, as you see in the design process, target is to make a fastest CO2 body. So you needed to make the design, like different design. You are going to start from a design and then make changes on it. So according to the engineering standards, it must achieve the fastest speed. Like you must consider the aerodynamic effect. You must make the front like a cone or a point type shape. Like here you see on this one, it must be a point shape. So to achieve the maximum speed, like if the point shape is cutting the aerodynamics effect or the wall of the air. And we needed to make the design in Fusion 360 of our choice, which we think is going to achieve the fastest speed. But the design must be an iterative process. We needed to design from wooden block, then take some cuts on it, make the holes according to the engineering specifications. Like we needed to describe in the report what the design will do in the actual form. So CO2 Dragster Kit. In the class, the supervisor will provide you a dragster kit, which will be consists of a solid triangular block. Like this wooden block will be given in the kit, and that wooden block we are going to convert it into according to the Fusion 360 design. We needed to make this design as we modeled in Fusion 360. There will be 2 axles or the shaft, 4 wheels, 2 screws, 4 washers, and 2 plastic tubes for the axle. There will be like this stuff will be given in the class. We needed to cut the this triangular wooden block into the body of CO2 dragster, and then we needed to assemble that thing. Like we needed to put the shafts, the front wheel, back wheels, and the CO2 container, like that. We needed to make the design in Fusion 360, and then we needed to make the blueprint or the drawing in Fusion 360. After that, we will make the marks or the cuts on the wooden block. Like this is the design, this is the blueprints or the drawing of the design. We will paste the front on the front side of the wooden block, and the top in the blueprints or drawing on the top of that wooden block. And then we needed to make the cut like from here, like that way we needed to make these cuts. So there is some safety factors are given here. We needed to consider that when we are going to design the body in Fusion 360, and we needed to make the cut on the wooden block. We needed to take these safety cares. Like the first point is minimum of 3 millimeter thickness around the entire power plant hole must be maintained on the Dragster for the safety. The inside of the power plant hole must not go to painted. So this hole we made it for the CO2 cylinder, and it must have material on the top side, on the left side, on the right side, on the every sides of this cylinder. We must have like minimum of 3 millimeter thickness. After cutting the material, we needed to assemble the Dragster kit into one assembly, and you can like paint the wooden block to any color. So this design they just did it and then assemble it. So this is some basics information, and now I am going to discuss about the report. So in this report we needed to make a 3 or 4 pages report. So what thing we needed to do, your report must cover these 3 topics. So in the report we must do these 3 topics: why and or what lead you to create your first design. So we needed to make a first design, and then we needed to explain that why we did that design, and then on that design we needed to make some changes, like to consider the aerodynamics effect, the effects of friction, like that, and we needed to make the changes on that our first design. So then we needed to explain why or what issue caused you to create the second iteration. Then we needed to describe about the second iteration. Then now we also needed to make the changes on that design, and again we needed to explain that what changes did you make to make for the final design, final iteration. So we need to explain what final step we did and why we did that in the final iteration. So this is basically a iterative process. We needed to do start from a random design, then make changes on that design and explain that why we did that. Then we needed to make more changes on that design, and then we needed to explain that when we reach on to our final design. And then we needed to talk about our final design, like what features will make him the fastest design, because our purpose or target is to achieve the fastest design. So we needed to like sell on the final design. We needed to talk about that design, like how much is it's better in comparing to the other design or the design available in the market. And the last point is that in the report we needed to explain everything about the steps or the process we take to make the actual physical cord or the CO2 dragster. We needed to explain every step. Like the first step is that we made the design in Fusion 360, then we make the blueprints, and then how you cut it the wooden block, which tool you use to cut the wooden block, something like that. At the end we painted that and make it beautiful. And we needed to talk about some hardships or difficulties which faced in that design. Like if you face any difficulties or hardship in the designing of this first project, we needed to describe that. So that is the report, and we needed to present the report also. So I just type some steps, like the task which we needed to do in this project. So the first task is get the kit from the supervisor in the class. You must get the kit of CO2 Dragster. And then the second task is design the body in Fusion 360 wooden block iteration effects to make the faster body. We needed to design the body in the Fusion 360. And then we needed to three steps is then we needed to make the blueprints or drawings in the Fusion 360, mark the wooden block like front view in the drawing on the front side of the wooden block, and the top view on the top side of the wooden block, like that. This is the front of the wooden block, and from the drawing we mark or the paste the front view of the drawing in that wooden block, and then on the top plane, this is the top plane or the top surface, we paste it or mark the front, the top side of the drawing on that wooden block to make the cut. Like this is telling us that we needed to make a cut like that, and on the top side like cut like that. Then after that, cut the wooden block into design you made in Fusion 360. So in the report we needed to make the report what we did to make the wooden block, explanation of iteration process, like the step we are going to describe in the report, what make or lead us to design the first design, then what changes and why we make that changes on the wooden block, like in 3 iteration. First is the basic idea, then we make some cuts to make it more standardized and to achieve the fastest speed, something like that. We needed to explain that, and why we make the final design, needed to explain the best design. We needed to explain about the final design which we selected and which we made in the Fusion 360, and then according to that design in Fusion 360 we cut it the wooden block into the final design. We needed to describe about everything, like what make us to model that thing. And then the last step is try to explain every step we did to make the Fusion design to final physical design and its assembly, and difficulties and hardships. What hardship we face, what difficulties we face to reach the final design, where we assemble all the components together to make it a car, CO2 Dragster car, and how we make the cut, how we mark the wooden block, how we painted the final design, something like that. Every step, like how you cut it, which tool you used to cut the wooden block into the actual CO2 Dragster body, like which tools you used in the machine shop to make the cut and change the wooden block into the final design. These type of things you need to describe that. This is the project one. So every task you must understand about it, and you needed to like divide the task between the group members.